Hey guys, before we jump into the episode, I wanted to let you know it is brought to you by Revinova, the official TMS provider for the Freight Coach. You guys, I've been a broker for a long time, and the tools that are at your disposal with Revinova help you eliminate bouncing between systems, which improves your accuracy when you are managing multiple tasks throughout your workday. Plus, it's built into the Salesforce cloud, so your CRM is fully integrated with your TMS, eliminating yet another silo. In today's day and age, you are definitely concerned about the safety of your data. With Revinova, it's fully protected. They have cutting edge security that keeps your information safe so you can focus on what matters most, and that's growing your business. Speaking of growing your business, with Rate and Lane IQ, you get real time pricing and route recommendations, helping you optimize costs and improve operational efficiencies, which ultimately helps you make smarter decisions. If you are like me and have recurring shipments from non-EDI customers, they have intuitive cloning features that let you easily replicate previous shipments, saving both shipper and carrier rates with just a few taps. If you are ready to learn more, visit www.revinova.com to request a demo. Just do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. This episode is brought to you by SPI Logistics, the premier freight agent logistics firm in North America. For over 40 years, SPI has been diligently building the most successful freight agent network to provide first-class relationships for our shippers, receivers, and carrier partners. We are more than another transportation network. We are a dedicated team of professionals united by one singular purpose, and that is to expedite our agents' success. All of our agents are set up for success on day one, as they are provided with a full suite of support staff that is ready to assist them with everything from after-hours emergencies to financial and administrative needs on a no-fee basis. This way, you can focus on continuing to grow your business. There is no financial risk to start, and you have the ability to earn up to 75% in commissions. If you are looking to take control of your financial future and build your business with the backing of one of the most successful logistics firms in North America, visit www.spi3pl.com to learn more. Do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I do say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, you guys, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take this information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I got a very special guest, and I'm going to bring him up here in a second. But I got to interject this at the beginning of the show because my team reminds me of this. We do have a newsletter, drops every single Wednesday. It's just once a week. I don't auto-sign anybody up for anything. So if you want to get in on it, I need you to go to thefreightcoach.com. It will auto-prompt you to register for it, all right? It's once a week. It's only industry specific. We talk fuel rates, all of that stuff in there. And again, I don't bombard you guys with anything because frankly, I don't even know how any of that stuff works. But yeah, with that being said, AI, you guys, it's all over the place. And today's guest, I think, has one of the most unique tools that are out there, because it services the driver community. And that is an area that has always been underserved from a technology standpoint. And this one I'm really excited to talk about, because operational efficiencies as an entrepreneur is of top of mind of me, like literally every single day. That's all I'm thinking about. How do we streamline our operations? How do we do more with less? And especially as a bootstrap founder, I'm trying to make a dollar out of 15 cents. And this is one of those tools that I think is going to bring a ton of value out there. So I have the founder and CEO of Bubba AI, my man Tapan, on the show here today. So Tapan, thank you so much for taking the time to join me.
Of course, I'm glad to have you.
No, man,
I'm be here.
No, dude, I appreciate that. And, I think like we're at a point where, I don't know if there's going to be a day or a week or a month for the next probably 5 years where AI isn't the top conversation of everybody's day across all industries. And I think like we're at a unique time with this, because, some of these tools that are at our disposal now, I truly am a fan of it, because I truly think it helps level the playing field out there. Like, you can now pack a larger punch out there in the market. And, we'll get into some of that, man. But like, What inspired the creation of Bubba AI, man? Like, what was it where you're like, I got to get out there and I got to start this?
No, of course. So my background is in tech. I mean, I always love tech. I like to do my own thing. Worked for one big corporation, lasted there for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I just love small companies. Before Hey Baba, I still have another company called TruckX. I still own it. It's a fleet management software, cameras, electronic logs, stuff like that. Started that 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first gig in transportation and trucking, and I was amazed by the way the industry works, and I was like, okay, I can speak a little bit dent by the tech I'm building. But then soon, like in a couple of years, I realized, okay, and our target market was owner operators, small fleets, 1 to 10 trucks, and these people they bust off, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they work hard, and they face a lot of these issues, right? Especially back end operations. So I started experimenting in 2019. I thought I could do AI back in the
Yeah.
day and do AI dispatch. This was before like dispatch as a service was a thing. And I thought I'll do like some dispatchers in the background and use tech to kind of still handle more jobs. I could not do it. Tech was not there. Back in 2024 now last year, the tech is already here. You could now LLM, the new AI can do so many things. So I thought, okay, why not focus now then with this? And yeah, that's how Hey Baba was started. And the goal was very different. The goal was not to provide any dispatch as a service. In fact, was to truly give a tool to owner
Mm-hmm.
operators to run their own business operations, right? Uh, Tech is commodity now with this AI, and the next 4 or 5 years, it will be more and more commoditized,
Yeah.
wherein everyone gets the power of running their own operations, running their own business. And it will be, I think, the mom and pop shops who will be flourishing than like the larger corporation because the gap is reducing.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And I think like as somebody who is a small business owner myself, I own a couple of companies, and from my seat, the thing that excites me the most about this is it will literally help me pack a larger punch out there. I can do more with less. And, I don't have any investors in my company, as most owner operators in small fleets. They're like, they're family companies. They don't have a line of, a VC money just piling in every single month for them to operate. And it is one of those things of like, we need to be able to operate faster, and we need to be able to provide a better product and service out there in the market. And I look at it as this is also one of the most fiscally responsible ways to build up that war chest, right? Because again, man, when you're operating in an industry where there is thin margins, there's a lot of industries out there where it's thin margins, not just a trucking thing out there. But, again, the show's on trucking, so we're going to talk about that. You need to be able to think of, all right, how can I build up as much capital as possible? Because it's like, I think from the driver's perspective and the fleet's perspective right now, they're in an unprecedented down market, right? Like it costs are, I was just breaking down some articles on the show yesterday where repair costs are going up, all their costs and expenses are increasing while profits are staying low, right? So it's like, again, you got to do more with less. You got to find ways to save money, but most importantly, you got to build those operational efficiencies inside of your organization. So when things change, because what goes up must come down, and vice versa. When the market improves, you got to come out running, and then you got to be able to stash as much cash away again so you can manage your way through the next down market, right? Because if you're not in this from a vanity perspective, as most people aren't in trucking because they think trucking's cool, they're in it because they have a deep love for the industry. We're going to be back in this situation at some point in time, right? So it's like, what can you do differently now to ensure when that next downturn happens, you're in a better place financially and operationally? And that's where I feel like a lot of AI tools that are out there are going to help those small businesses, because I think there's going to be two camps of people out there. And I think the majority of people are going to over AI their businesses, and they're going to try and remove the human element from it entirely. And then there's going to be the camp out there, and this is the camp that I'm going to be in, we're going to automate as much as we can behind the scenes, but the carrier and the customer experience will never be automated inside of my organization, because I feel like that is where the real value will lie out there. And that it might not be for a couple of years, you guys, but eventually people are going to they're going to be over talking to bots, right? Because and then what stops a manufacturer or shipper from having a bot receptionist, and then it's just bots talking to bots, and there's no business or sales being done at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I think bot definitely helps in customer service aspect, right? Because if you have a lot of information, right, a human will apparently make a mistake, right? Every 10 calls, 2 calls are like someone gave a wrong information to the customer. At least bot won't do that. So that's an easy win, I think, for AI. Sales, not sure. I think the time will tell, right? I mean, what the sales really mean, right? I mean, sale, what does sale really mean, right? That's the main thing, right? You're convincing the other party, right? Now the other party is the bot, then I think the bot will do a better job on both sides rather than a human. I mean, I run the small business as well. I mean, bootstrap founder for TruckX. Bubba is also bootstrap. We don't have any investors in here. So we try to optimize on operations internally. So while we build the tech, internally we are using AI as well to build all of our tech as well. So our goal is to keep less people and still build more tech. And the way people think, oh, less people, what does it mean? I think the biggest threat for AI is the middle management, not really the top and the bottom. I think is the middle management, wherein you try to make operations better by introducing more middle management people. And I think they are the ones that are getting hit the most. Yeah. Not just trucking, right? Look at the big tech, right? They are doing a lot of layoffs. All of them are throughout middle management.
Yeah. I also look at it, and I know what you're saying there with a lot of that. I try and say this as much as possible. If you're a high performing individual, you are going to be just
no one
fine.
can replace you. Yeah.
The tech will never replace a work ethic. Like, and if you have your job might look differently today, than it does today. But like, I truly feel like good people, quality, hardworking individuals that are out there will never be replaced, because there is actually a shortage of that in the market than there is the mid to low level performers. I think like there's an oversupply of that, and that's who's going to be affected the most by this. But again, I feel like the high performing individuals that are out there, you're like, man, how much more can I do? Because like that's where my mindset goes with a lot of these things that are out there with a lot of where the tech is in transportation right now. I'm like, man, can I do 100 loads a day as one person? How much can I automate where I can do as one person do 100 loads a day? I'm like, that's where my mind's at with it.
And when I started Bubba, right, I mean, I see all of these AI companies focusing on brokerage.
Yes,
and
that's what I am. I am a broker. But
yeah. I mean, it's a good problem, right? I mean, to solve, because there are so many brokers, and you want, as you said, right, your goal is how many loads can you move as an individual. For truckers, it's a different problem, right? You have one truck, right? You can only move so much loads, but then how can you get better loads, right? How can you get better relationship? How can you get better delivery, right, to you guys, right, as a broker, or to a shipper directly, right, whoever you work with. And we saw there was absolutely no one focusing on carriers. And my experience is in carrier. I'm a tech person, so I was like, hey, I mean, this is a perfect win. And that's why we launched Baba. We are absolutely truly focused on carriers. We work with brokers, but in a way where brokers know Baba. When the call comes, we can get better freight from the brokers, but we would never charge brokers, because we truly represent carriers, and that's our moat. We would never make money from brokers.
Yeah, and that is exactly where I think a lot of drivers and brokers are operate in this capacity as well, where their first knee-jerk reaction is to just go to a load board. Where, again, I'm a fan of load boards. I'm not against load boards or anything when I'm saying this, but what I mean is the best freight doesn't make it to a load board, because the right brokers that are out there are going to their core carriers and going to them first before we go to a load board to say, hey, do you have a truck in this area? What days of the week are you available? And then I think this is what will help uncover those higher paying loads that drivers don't get to. So, I want to ask,
I'm sorry. No, I have another perspective on this. So I see like two types of brokers, right? I mean, one is like a huge brokers, let's say CH or TQL or whoever.
For sure.
as you said, right, for them, they have people, they try to move their best freights directly before putting onto the load boards. But there are a lot of small brokers, just like the same as carriers, right? Small carriers, there's a ton of small brokers. For them, it's very hard to find these direct customers.
Mm-hmm.
So they might be able to leverage more with the load board. I mean, of course, load board charges them whatever, but I think that's an easier way for them to kind of reach out to wider audience. But you need a better tool, like in our case, right? I mean, of course, I'm promoting myself, but Bubba can actually reach out to different brokers
Mm-hmm.
simultaneously. We don't have to rely on like a one giant broker, but we can reach to several of these and book a best freight. So it's a win-win for carrier, it's a win-win for even smaller broker.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, and I mean, that was kind of going to lead into my question there for you.
Yeah.
Is what is a tip, like what does this look like from a driver's perspective? And I want to think like an owner operator here. All right, like
Okay.
I'm out there, I'm currently hauling a load from Phoenix to Dallas. I'm
Mhm.
picking up today, it's Tuesday, I'm going to be in Dallas by Thursday. How is this working for me to help me find additional freight?
Yeah.
Or what does my day look like when I'm utilizing a product like yours?
So what Bubba does is we want to automate the entire back office, right? So take away your dispatch and operations part of it.
Mhm.
So we're starting with owner operators, 1 to 10 trucks. And that's a perfect suitable product for them. So when you open Bubba, Bubba is purely voice based. So while you're driving, you can still talk to Bubba. It's a free flowing conversation. You don't have to be specifically talk about this first. And you can say, hey, I'm stuck here in Dallas. I want to go back to Chicago. Can you find something? We do integrate with your telematics, we integrate with your emails, so we can see what's coming, what's outgoing. We can see your location with telematics, which will help us find the freight. So now what Bubba does is Bubba connects to different load boards. So we do partner with DAT, Truckstop, and different load boards. So if you have a, let's say, DAT subscription, you go to Bubba, you just sign in. Now we can automatically search the DAT load boards.
Mhm.
If we have a CH login, TQL logins, we can
Yeah.
pull loads from there. Let's say a small broker is sending you emails every day. How often do you check those emails if you're driving on the road? You don't. Baba will constantly check it and keep searching for those best loads available for you. And it will not just search, it will then call the broker for you. Also negotiate for you. You can set your floor amount. It will negotiate the rate for you and book the freight with the rate confirmation on your inbox, all
So
done automatically while you're driving on the road.
yeah. So, when you're sitting here talking about negotiation,
Yes.
obviously, no cheap freight is a big thing for the driver community that's
Yep.
out there right now. And are you working with drivers to help them know what their break even point is, right? Like know their numbers. Is it, hypothetical, my break even's $2 a mile.
Mhm.
I don't want to accept a load that's below 215 a mile. Are you guys working to set those parameters to kind of help with that negotiation piece that's out there? And,
Mhm.
kind of walk me through that, because I feel like that's going to be a big thing is how do I know that this thing's not going to go in there and take $1 a mile partial, and then all of a sudden I'm stuck. And then if I don't take it and I fall off, then a broker's going to report me, and then that's going to have a negative effect on my business.
No, that's absolutely correct. I mean, there are various ways to look at it. So, first is the profitability is different for different carriers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Certain aspect of it is still the same, like a fuel cost and stuff, but fuel is also different in a different lane. So, what we do is we are launching a profitability calculator. So,
Mm-hmm.
what this calculator does is, as like regular, where you enter your miles, what's the fuel rate. Of course, you can do that. What we do is go a step beyond that. We can read, since we can read your email, we can read your receipts. We know what's your payment for the trucks. If you do any payments, any maintenance cost, we average that out for the last 1 year, and we tell you a real cost for you to run any particular lane. And then based on that, we will recommend you saying, okay, lane from Dallas to Chicago costs you X. If you are getting X plus 50 cents or $1, I mean, it's your call at the end of the day, right? Whether you still want to take it or not. But we will recommend you, this is your cost. If you go anything under that, you will be at a loss. Now, second point to that is, maybe Dallas to Chicago, you might be making 50 cents, but maybe Chicago to New York and New York to, again, to Dallas might be a better route for you than coming back to Dallas. So down the line, we are also working on this recommendation wherein it's not just the lane preference you chose, but we can recommend you something in and around that lane preference, wherein your you're coming back home is the same destination, but we might recommend you, hey, go a slight deviation. You might make more dollars,
Yeah.
total dollars, right? Round trip. It's not just about one way. It's never about one way. And that's the problem, right? Owner operators sometimes, or even like bigger companies I've seen, right? I mean, they just look for one way. The driver's like, I'm not going to make money on this. I was like, sure, but you can make better money if you go there and come back rather than going somewhere else.
Yeah. And I think like that right there, that route optimization, knowing where is the best paying freight, because, there are a lot of owner operators and fleets that are, they don't necessarily have a designated region or lanes that they like to run, right? They're just like, hey, we want to run.
Many hate going to California.
Yeah, they want miles,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If there's anything that the majority of the drivers that I've spoken with in my career, they're like, hey, man, I want miles. I want to run long.
Mhm.
And, so again, it's like what you're bringing up there. I think like this opens up the possibilities inside of their operation where it's like, hey, man, maybe there's a triangle. Instead of just operating the Midwest, you brought up Chicago to Dallas or Chicago to Houston.
Mhm.
Why don't you go out to like Charlotte, North Carolina first, then come down? And then when we're looking at the all-encompassing miles here, you average out to a profit margin of 20 cents a mile, hypothetical example there, right?
Yeah.
And that is it's helped challenge your thinking, because I feel like humans are destined to go after comfort and they like to stay with what they know, and they're not necessarily open to new ideas and how to operate their business and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
this, what you're bringing up there, from my perspective, is this is going to help open up all new opportunities, and then these things are working behind the scenes here for you, right?
Yeah,
So
this is for you.
and I want you to, because I'm not the most tech savvy person out there at the end of the world. So what does the learning curve look like for me? My son, who's a teenager, tells me how to like operate my iPhone. That's my level of tech savviness that's out there. What would this look like from that perspective if I was an owner operator and I
Mhm.
went and signed up for your guys' service?
Yeah, so that's another good point with AI, and we are heavily focused with how the experience for the truck drivers will be, um, and that's why we're making it complete voice first. So the problem with tech has been since probably early 2000s is there is a clunky UI someone built thinking, okay, this is the way to operate. So you have to click on here first, then you have to click here second, then click here third to do your task. With AI, it has completely changed. So the way we are thinking is the next level of interaction with tech is going to be different. It's going to be pure voice. So when you open the Bubba app, there is no keyboard access. The only thing you do is talk to it. So you can just speak to it. So there's only mic button. So you mute yourself or you unmute yourself and just talk, saying, hey, I want a load, saying I want a parking. So we are going to integrate parking spots. We're going to integrate fuel. So you just talk to Baba. So it's very free flowing. You don't have to go here first and do this second thing first. You can just talk to it, and then slowly it will learn your preferences and things like that.
So, again, like I'm a chat GPT guy at
Yeah.
the end of the day. I use it, and I have noticed that it is adopting my tendencies every time I'm going in there and I'm asking it a question, right? And this is where it's like, from my perspective, the people who are like against utilizing AI or anything like that, I don't like copy and paste what chat GPT tells me, but from
Yeah.
like it stokes my creative way of thinking, because again, most people have a one-track mind. I know I'm guilty of that. I can really only think of a few things at once. And sometimes it just spits out different ideas for you. And you're like, oh shit, I never thought of it that
Never
way.
thought
Let
of
me
it, yeah.
go do this now. Right.
Yes.
And that's where like, I think you can leverage it. And, you brought up fuel and repairs earlier out there. So it's like, I feel like if I was out there and I was a driver, I know I've done this in my car. And where, you go and you fill up gas at one spot and then you go the next exit down and it was like 10 cents cheaper a gallon. Like, what did I do there? Is that something where I could go in and I could just be like, hey, Bubba, I'm pulling up to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Where's the best fuel price off of the I-10 or no, excuse me, the I-40 out there? Can I ask that? And then will that spit it out and it'll say, and then will that like be integrated into my GPS potentially or my ELDs where I can go in and be like, here's the best cost fuel in the next 50 miles.
No, absolutely. That's our goal, right? We are starting with load search and load booking, but parking is next and the fuel. these are the few things that, and hotel booking, right? We're talking to hotels as well. If you want to book hotel, right? A nice night, right? Maybe once in a while. But the goal is, as I said, right, to completely automate the back office. Think of it as your dispatcher sitting in the back, and it's not just one thing at a time, right? With ChatGPT, when you talk to ChatGPT, you have to type something, and then you type something, and then you wait for the response, and you have to work on that task. Now, what we do is we make it asynchronous. So let's say you can tell Bubba 4 things at a time, saying, "Hey, I'm stuck in Dallas, right? Get me to Chicago." Second is, "Hey, I also need some parking." And third is, "I see a check engine light. Can you check what it could be?" Right? And all these things you just spoke to Bubba, and Bubba will do things in the background. It's just like, hey, giving some asking something to your dispatcher, right, or to your back office person, and they take a note of it, and all these tasks, they are doing it in the background for you. And that's the real advantage of having an AI work for you. So, and yes, and what we really like to believe is this: like, internet gave you new superpower, right? Wherein you have access to this knowledge out there in the internet. AI is giving you the next level of superpower. It's not just knowledge which is spread out. It can encapsulate in a small, like, it can read through their entire knowledge base and give you an answer to what you're looking for. So it's just this, not the knowledge as a commodity, but also what to make sense out of that knowledge is also getting commoditized.
No, and I think that's a great point. And, it was making me think here, because when you're saying, obviously ChatGPT, you're typing everything in there with you guys. I think like there's a synergy between what you guys have developed and like on iPhones with Siri, right? Hey Siri, tell me this, right? And I think like that's this kind of, because I was like, oh, man, I got to put it in simpler context for me here. What does this more sound like? And I think most people out there have an iPhone, and that is, it's very similar to it, but this is strictly transportation focused. And building out that back office, man, because again, it's like that's I think the biggest hurdle that I've faced as a business owner was managing my back office properly, right? When it comes down to my financials and building, doing a P&L and all of that stuff that comes along with it, because, most small businesses are 30 days away from going out of business every single month. And, any way that you can run more efficiently behind the scenes is what's going to help you out in the long run, right? It's not, how do I get that one good paying load that's out there, and I think it's understanding that when you start a business, there's you, the operator of said business, and how to make your business run more efficiently. There's 2 tasks that you're actually simultaneously trying to do. Most drivers, when you go out on your own, you're a phenomenal driver, right? Like, you've made that risk. You've invested that capital into your business through buying a truck, trailer, insurance, fuel, all of that stuff. Now, how do you make the most sense of your data? How do you make the most sense of what's going on behind the scenes to help you make a better decision? Because let's be honest, you guys, that's some of the hardest things. I think the hardest thing about being an entrepreneur, Tapan, and I'd love to get your opinion on this, it's the mental battle. It's the, hey, am I actually making the right decision here? Is my data that's in front of me, is it making the most sense to me? And you're going to be wrong, right? Like that's a rite of passage. You have to go through that. But there's tools at your disposal now that can put information together for you to help you make the best decision based on your actual data.
Yeah, and I think the other big aspect is the visibility, right? To your point, is internally in your business, the best way you can make your decision is if you have visibility into what's happening. And then for a truck driver, if they're driving on the road, they have to focus on driving. They have to focus on the task of delivery, which is very specific to the conditions they are facing, right? They don't have to worry about, they should not be worrying about, okay, what's my next load? Where should I pick up my next load? And, like, am I going to make money, right, on this freight? So as you said earlier, the market goes up and down. So maybe this month is a bad month. You may not make more than 20 cents a mile, 10 cents a mile. Maybe it's not bad of a deal. If we know that in future, based on historical data, of course, right, no one can predict future, but over the course of year, if you can make a decent money, then probably it's worthwhile taking a load which is less. Why? Let's say if you have truck payments to make. Now, to cover those truck payments, you might have to still drive and still make 10 cents a mile, which is kind of sucks, but then you have to do it. And Baba can tell you, okay, sure, it is bad, but then these are the decisions you're supposed to make, right? As an owner operator, as an owner, as a small business owner,
Yeah.
expecting that in the future you might make more money. To your point, you should then stack it, right? Save it
Mhm.
to use for the times which is not good. But then, let's say owner operator who does not have a truck payment, they have a choice to just sit home, not drive at all, because they don't have a fixed cost.
Mhm.
So doing a profitability calculation is, what is your fixed cost, the cost that you have to pay irrespective whether you run or you do not run. That's the most important piece you need to know, you need to understand. And the second is the variable cost. If you do make a run, what is that additional cost? It's going to add up to your fixed cost, and at the end of the day, are you making any money? And so usually I like to split it in these three buckets: is fixed cost, a variable cost, which means when you run a mile, how much is that variable? And then next is your bottom line.
Yeah. And that's exactly where your mind needs to shift as soon as you're out there on your own. And when you're operating like that, you need to break that down, and you need to have a greater fiscal understanding of what your data actually is and what your money actually is going towards to help build that up. And it's like, it to me, we're just at a point now with the tools that are at everybody's disposal. If you're not making it work or you're not understanding what's going on, you're making that choice to not figure it out.
And these
Like
choices are given to, like, owner operator give it to their spouse, to their relatives, to their cousins, right?
yeah,
Or worst, I mean, they end up uh, outsourcing this, right, to an outsourced dispatch. And we have seen in last 4 or 5 years, it goes, yeah, overseas, and it's like a big issue where there are
yeah,
frauds happening. And this is exactly the reason we started Bubba, and to solve this problem. Of course, it won't start from day one, right? It won't solve the whole thing from day one. But the goal is the next 2 years, we should be able to automate this entire back office, wherein your spouse, your cousins, your relatives, they don't have to worry too much. They can focus on the other things they are doing, right? Either they make more income, they manage their household or whatever they are good at, rather than taking all these heavyweight tensions about, okay, what's the next load, am I going to be profitable? And so your entire family is gobbled in a business related tension, right? Which is usually not a good sign. And that's where I think owner operators suffer the most. If you talk to them, right, if you talk to their families, they all worry about the same thing, which tells you that something is really wrong. I mean, they should not be worrying all about the same thing.
yeah. I think that from my perspective, everybody has strengths and weaknesses. And you got to know what your strengths are, and you can automate your weaknesses now. AI is there's tools that are out there in AI to help automate a lot of that stuff. And again, you're going to be investing that money in some capacity, right? It
Yeah.
could be in a dispatch service or anything like that. I am kind of I need my hands in everything. I need to control everything.
Mhm.
And I would want to rather use something like AI that is, I'm able to have more of a control over. And again, when I'm up, I know Bubba is up with me. And if I got a question to ask, I got to wait till the morning to get a response on some of that stuff.
And
But
Baba will wait for you to click on the confirm button to book the freight.
yep,
But the rest, you can be assured that Baba can look for different freights, find the best route for you, and things like that, right? So your decision making is for the important decisions, and the rest mundane tasks is done by AI.
perfect. Tapan, I appreciate your time, and thank you so much for joining me. How does anybody reach out to you guys to find out more about what you guys have going on?
Oh yeah, it's very easy. Just go to baba.ai. We're right there on the website. Of course, we're keeping improving it, but yeah, we post everything over there. It's a self onboarding tool as well. You click on get started, and then yeah, off we go. Our goal is to make sure the tool is something which is easy for everyone to use, and we constantly work on that. So any feedback is absolutely welcome, and we would love to hear from you guys.
Perfect. Tapan, thank you so much for joining me. That's going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys can't find them at all on social media, hit me up. I will gladly put you guys in contact with them. But as always, if you got value in what you heard, subscribe to the show, you guys. If you're feeling really ambitious after this one, which you should be, rank the show on iTunes and Spotify, because if you saw value, your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Came back with a bang, window down, yelling out money, anything. Hey, ooh, got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when I'm getting to the back. Hey, foot on the gas. Pedal to the metal when the lane move